Maricopa County Community College District is located in Maricopa County, Arizona. It is better known as MCCCD and is among the largest community college networks currently in existence in the United States. MCCCD offers 2-year associate's degrees and occupational certificates, as well as online classes and dual enrollment programs for students in high school. It is made up of 10 community colleges, and the Maricopa County Community College System was established in 1962. It now serves over 200,000 students and employs over 10,000 faculty and staff. It is classified by the Carnegie Classification Criterion as an associate college. The system is a high transfer mixed college with traditional and non-traditional degrees and a higher percentage of part-time students than full-time students. Overall, the Maricopa system is 43% white, 48% minority, and 93% residing in Maricopa County, which is made up of the city of Phoenix and 27 other townships and cities. The system is also classified as an HSI.
With 200,000 students enrolled in 10 different institutions throughout the Phoenix area, it's no wonder that the governance structure of Maricopa County Community College District is extensive. As a district of public, open-access institutions built for the community, the MCCCD ultimately answers to the citizens of Maricopa County first and foremost. The community is represented by a 7-member board of directors, publicly elected to serve 4-year terms within their role. There are 5 geographically based board members and 2 members that serve at large. The board president, Lauren Hendricks, began his term in 2017. In our most recent elections, 4 new board members were elected to terms beginning in 2019. The Chancellor of MCCCD is the highest-ranking administrative position focused on district operations. The Chancellor champions the mission and vision, as well as supports the growth and development of the district from an academic, civic, and economic lens. The current Chancellor, Maria Harper Marinick, stepped into the role in 2016 and has over 25 years of experience within the MCCCD system. Supporting the Chancellor's efforts is a team of district-wide administrative leaders, including vice chancellors in the areas of academics, business, and human resources. A chief operations officer and president of the MCCCD Foundation round out this district-wide team. Beyond the district-wide administrative leaders, each local campus has a president and team of administrators to support their individualized campus operations and initiatives. This extensive set of administrators have the hefty job of ensuring that each campus runs smoothly while aligning their efforts district-wide to maximize student success. As we came to understand the challenges at MCCCD, we were able to center in on a series of events that propelled the board and district leadership to reconsider the focus of the institution, establishing a new set of leadership priorities. In 2015, after years of slowly declining funding, the state of Arizona eliminated all public funding to MCCCD. At its height, this funding covered 10% of expenses. At the same time, the institution experienced a steady decline in enrollment, another revenue source that they had relied on. In addition to the funding challenges of the district, this time period also brought significant leadership change, as we've highlighted earlier, with the hiring of Chancellor Harper Marinick in 2016 and the election of Board President Lauren Hendricks in 2017. As these 2 new leaders began their tenure, they determined that a strategic plan, deemed the Transformation Plan in marketing materials, focused on corporate partnerships and collaborations to both increase revenue and also add workforce development opportunities to students, was the best course of action for the institution. By aligning their priorities with market trends in the community, they could create a more sustainable revenue stream for the district, in their minds, a win-win for everyone. An examination of potential cost-cutting measures and revenue builders led to decisions that district leadership felt would streamline processes and refocus priorities on the new strategic plan initiatives. In actuality, we would argue that these decisions initiated an organizational saga devoted to academic capitalism, and in the process, eliminated opportunity for the voices of the MCCCD community to be heard and commodified processes and people in favor of a privileged view of market trends and revenue streams. We highlight this point with 3 examples: the removal of the meet and confer policy that allowed for faculty feedback and input, the decision to minimize supports for DACA students after the state of Arizona eliminated their in-state tuition benefit, and the cutting of the MCCCD football program from the budget as a cost-saving measure. In our analysis of what is behind the challenges at MCCCD, we would argue that the board and district leadership, led by Chancellor Harper-Marinick and board president Hendricks, are attempting to market a new organizational saga for MCCCD, one that would attract businesses, build revenue streams, and align with the tenets of academic capitalism as outlined by Slaughter and Rhodes. As Slaughter and Rhodes point out, academic capitalism is becoming increasingly popular as a focus for institutions, oftentimes replacing or eliminating a previous focus centered around public good. Despite the fact that MCCCD was created as an open-access community college district for the local community, Harper-Marinick and Hendricks see a larger benefit in shifting the focus to economic impact and aligning with the market needs around them. In the process, the Chancellor and board president's academic capitalist-centered priorities shifted the power dynamics within the institution, effectively silencing the voices of the students it serves and those that work the most closely with students on a daily basis. With the elimination of meet and confer, faculty lost their voice as a district, and while the board said it would create a new process moving forward, faculty have yet to see what this new process will look like. Academic capitalism favors a shift from democratic practices in order to proceed, and by removing faculty from discussion about issues related to their work, benefits, salaries, etc., leadership can keep their decision-making aligned with priorities of engaging with market needs and create cost-cutting efficiencies. The removal of the football program as a cost-saving measure came without warning to the coaches or players at MCCCD. Outside of a short testimony at a February board meeting, no collaborative efforts or opportunities for input were offered by leadership, and the decision to cut the program was finalized without the voices of those it impacted most. After the program's elimination was finalized, students of color came forward, declaring the decision to be one based on race, as in their eyes, this program gave them a chance to hone their skills when a traditional 4-year institution wasn't possible. 22 African American players filed a civil rights violation complaint to the Department of Education. The institution had been appealing the state's decision to remove the in-state tuition benefit for DACA students, but lost their appeal in April of 2018. Rather than continue to appeal, the institution decided to stop fighting for DACA students' rights at the state level. This points to the idea of commodification of students. Under academic capitalist understanding, it no longer benefited the institution to continue to fight for students, as it would add costs to the district and minimize revenue opportunities if students were to pay the lower in-state fees. The faculty-board relations at MCCCD are tenuous at best and in the midst of a breakdown at worst. With the Faculty Association's recent filing of a formal complaint to the Higher Learning Commission, the entity that accredits MCCCD, it is clear that MCCCD residential faculty are not on board with the path that board members have taken in implementing their new strategic plan. Yet, if the board has any hopes of seeing this plan ultimately put into practice in the long run, it needs to understand that faculty will need to support making these efforts happen. Clark points to the need of faculty buy-in for any organizational saga fulfillment. With an organizational saga hanging in the balance at MCCCD, faculty will be key players in the long-term strength of these new efforts, as Clark highlights in his 1972 breakdown of saga fulfillment needs. A single leader, Clark states, a college president, can initiate the change, but the organizational idea will not be expanded over the years and expressed in performance unless ranking and powerful members of the faculty become committed to it and remain committed even after the initiator is gone. Knowing the majority of the board will be new to governing at MCCCD as their term begins in 2019, we offer the expertise of the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges, or AGB. In 2014, the AGB released 5 best practices to help make shared governance work. They are actively engage board members, administrators, and faculty leaders in a serious discussion of what shared governance is and is not. Periodically assess the state of shared governance and develop an action plan to improve it. Expressly support strong faculty governance of the academic program. Maintain a steadfast commitment to three-way transparency and frequent communication. Develop ways to increase social capital between board members and faculty members. We would highly recommend that the new board members champion efforts to utilize these practices as the new year and their new terms begin, by starting with an intentional discussion with key administrators and faculty regarding the definition of shared governance. They may create an opportunity to wipe the slate somewhat clean and start from a point of collaboration to determine next steps, rather than continue down a path that excludes faculty from the discussion. By bringing faculty back in and working together to identify what shared governance means to the district within the confines of the goals and expectations that this new saga is producing, the board will have a much better chance at re-engaging in a way that could produce positive change at MCCCD. In addition to the practices offered of the AGB, we recommend that the board explore solutions that other institutions and districts have in place regarding faculty input and feedback. In particular, we would recommend examining shared governance practices at Arizona State University for a local perspective, and the Colorado Community College System for examples of community college system best practices.
Another recommendation we have for MCCCD has to do with Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA. We know that with the state of Arizona doing away with in-state tuition, there are still some things that they can do to ensure that students have a fighting chance when it comes to their education. We looked at surrounding institutions that have similar demographics to ensure that we were not imposing benchmarks that did not fit the context of MCCCD. One of the things that this institution can do is develop campus-specific scholarships, which they can base on academics, because statistics show that DACA students perform really well when it comes to their academics. Another thing that can be done is developing student organizations on campus where DACA students, along with others like allies, feel they have a place to go. Because of this political climate, students, whether they be DACA or not, sometimes feel unwanted and like they do not belong. The more we do towards creating a space where students feel welcome and safe, that's when we're creating change. So we have to work with the limitations we are given and truly advocate for what can change.
The decision to eliminate the football program seems to have the most potential for finding a mutually agreeable solution, and we encourage the new board to take up this issue from a fact-sharing and informational gathering perspective as a priority upon taking their seats in January. We recommend that you demand a detailed review of both the costs and revenue streams created by the football program, including details about where those costs originated from and what attempts to mitigate costs were made without a full elimination of the program. We also recommend ensuring that within financial processes, additional insurance quotes were obtained and discussions around the types and complexities of policies were completed before determining the cost to be unsurmountable. We also ask you to consider making space for voices from the football program, namely the coaches that have indicated that they have ideas on how to support football and support cost efficiencies, and the players who believe their civil rights were violated. Excluding their voices and feedback only add evidence to their concerns that this decision was racially motivated. As a board without African American representation, listening to African American students' perspectives will help support understanding of the complexities that emerge from siloed decision making. Lastly, in the event that the program must be eliminated permanently, we ask the board to inquire about supports and resources that will be made available to players impacted by this decision. Their long-term success is part of MCCCD long-term success, and investing in additional advising support, mentoring, and career coaching will be an important part of ensuring that students persist despite the removal of a program they found to be so impactful to their lives.